Welcome to my world. So nice of you to join me. My name is Ebere, the man you call Dr. Love. It's nice and beautiful night. I got African women right here in the house from Nigeria to South Africa. You can't believe it. And we're having tea right here in the studios. Don't blink or you will miss it. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Very Pretty will be right back.
Welcome back. I promised you I have three gorgeous women in the studio. And I mean gorgeous. If you're sitting with your husband, hold him tight. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the studio. These three women. I feel intimidated actually. I mean, I think they should get me some bodyguards. What do ladies think?
Good idea.
It's not easy for a man to hang out with three women all at the same time. Anyway, it's nice to have you ladies in the house. First, let's meet Mrs. Clara Wokenkwo. I wasn't going to call you anything. Mrs. Clara Wokenkwo, you have a bachelor's degree in nursing. Why did you bother with law again?
I think it was either that or medical school, so I chose law instead.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Very good. And from South Africa, let's welcome Samantha Olivia Mitchell. You have a master's in
Social work.
social work. Why social work?
I was always interested in the field, and my first exposure to social work is because I was raised with a sister who's mentally and physically handicapped. And so I was exposed to social workers from a very young age and being responsible and helping someone. And so it was a field that I was naturally drawn to.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
I hope you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And on my left, I wouldn't forget Uche Hilda Onwohai. She's also a nurse. You went to
St. Xavier University.
St. Xavier. Yeah, it sounds like a Catholic school.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, and today a new pope has been elected. How does that affect? That's some good news.
It is.
And you and Clara are co-owners of, what's that abbreviation again?
HTHA.
HTHA. I don't want to go to the whole name. It's Healing to Heal Another, right?
Right.
Oh, I got it right this time. Why did you choose to be a nurse?
Well, actually, when I came from Nigeria, I had thought I was going to be a medical doctor. When I came here, I found out that it was going to take 100 years to go to medical school. And I know that sounds funny, but I wanted to do something quick, and I'm a very great people's person, and I was really concerned about taking care of people. And like, well, if not medicine, then I'll do nursing, and it kind of fell into place.
Are you enjoying it?
I am, pretty much. There's a lot of choices that you have when you're a nurse as to what particular field you want to practice in. So.
Okay, nice to have you ladies in the house. We're going to really relax and have fun. Let's have some tea. Let me be a gentleman.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I hope this is still hot. Just a minute now. See, I'm trying to be a nice guy.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank
Hosting
you.
ladies. Yeah, like we were talking before. I like serving people. Does that make me less of an African man? You know, trying to, be nice to women, serve you tea, open a car door for you. Is it true that this is a matriarchal society, the United States? Let's start with Clara.
I think it's a combination of both. It's a shared responsibility between the men and the women. Depends on the area in which you're speaking about. There are certain areas where women have more.
What area would that be?
Well, a lot of time in the home and also in the rearing of the children, very similar to our culture at home. But there, I think in the U.S., many women have probably more opportunities than other women have at home. So you're more likely to have the shared responsibility, I believe, in the U.S. in my experience.
Talking about shared belief, Michelle, would you say that women have more power or that women are more dominant in the United States in terms of marriage?
I think it's relative, right? It depends on people. People are different all across the world. And if you were going to be a dominant African woman married to an African man in Africa, then you're going to be a dominant African woman married to an American man.
What is it like being married to an African man and be living in the United States? Your husband is from Nigeria. What is it like? Would you say that you're having shared responsibility, or he still maintains the patriarchal attitude that people think we bring from Africa?
Well, I think it's more of a shared responsibility because first of all, it's something that you all pretty much have to decide when you get married.
What do you mean decide? You guys sit down and you have a talk and say, hey, it's going to be a shared responsibility.
Well, I mean, some things are obvious. I mean, when you're in America, the woman works just like the man works. And not to say in Nigeria is any different, but, you know, women work long hours in America, so do men. Sometimes you're expected to come home and get in the kitchen and cook and all of that good stuff. But when you say shared responsibility, the woman may cook the food, but the man may get up and dish the food and not wait for the woman to do the dishing because she just cooked. Or better still, the woman cooks on the weekend and everything is set in the refrigerator for the man. The woman comes home late. Sometimes the man does not expect that she's going to get home late and then still come out and serve the food. So the food is already in the refrigerator. He pulls out the food to microwave and take care of himself. And that's what I call shared responsibility. That way you understand that the woman doesn't have to do everything all the time.
I'm not trying to cut you. You should have continued. Mrs. Mokonkwo, when you got in here, you said your husband's older brother is in town, and you said you cooked some soup. What soup was it?
Egusi soup and vegetable soup. Ebere soup.
Why not the American meal? Do you ladies get to cook African food here?
Absolutely.
Where do you get all this stuff?
I believe it or not, they actually have stores that cater to international market. You have food from Jamaica, you have food from China, you have food from Africa, you have food from all over the world here in the U.S. So we have the opportunity to go there. And
Okay, this soup you're cooking now. Let's get the breakdown. What is in it?
Well, one is egusi soup. So you have, it's called mustard seed here.
Okay.
So in at home, we call it egusi soup, egusi. So it's crushed. And you have different vegetables and meat and goat meat.
Do you have pomo?
I don't. I don't make that. I don't make that myself, but my mom, she's very
Mr.
good at that.
Okenko doesn't demand for that.
No, he doesn't demand.
What about Shaki?
Definitely that.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it easy to come by?
It depends on where you live in the U.S., but every major city have those international stores where you can go and purchase what you need.
Why is it so accessible? Because I can tell you I love mushrooms. I eat fewer mushrooms in Africa than I'm eating in America. There's so much mushroom.
Right.
How is it with you from South Africa? Do you get all your food here?
Yes. So it's a little different because I am married to an American man, but at the same time, he's been exposed to South Africans. So when we go and he eats,
hold on. You're married to an American.
Yes.
What happened to all the Africans here? You didn't see any of them tonight?
No.
Oh, none of them was forthcoming or what?
We don't choose who we love.
Okay.
And so it was the right place and the right time and the right person.
And
so,
does he enjoy your food?
Yes, he does. And I crave my own food and I crave my mother's food, so I cook my mother's food.
Which food is more dominant in your house?
Actually, because I'm the main cook in the house, it's South African food.
In other words, your house is a matriarchal house. You're in charge.
Yes, because South African food is good.
As far as cooking, you're in charge, correct?
You cook a lot of African food yourself.
Yes, I do.
Let's look at it. Why is it that you have corn, maize, whatever you call it, you have every type of food, every type of meat, every type of fish here at any time that you want it in the stores? Why is it not like that back home in Nigeria?
Over here, there's a lot of mass production.
But we do mass produce back home.
Well, I'm not exactly sure that it's the same magnitude.
So there's more food in America than there is back home.
There is more food in America because of the way the food is produced and the way the food is made. It blows my mind when you have corn all year round. In Nigeria, it's seasonal, okay? Yeah. When you can only have corn at certain times of the year. But over here, I think because of the hormones and the different fertilizers. Because of
preservation, and then we start talking about power. Because there's power to preserve these things. And besides, too, the stores keep them, they package them, they make them into tin food, and they preserve them. Would you still consider yourself an African woman?
Absolutely.
How long have you been in America?
I've been here for probably over 22 years.
For 22 years?
Yes.
And how much time have you spent back home since then?
Not a lot. I have to be honest. I left Nigeria when I was 6. I spent most of my childhood years in London before I came to the U.S.
You're not an African woman.
I am totally an African woman.
What qualifies you as an African woman?
Because of my household, because of the intrinsic, what was placed in me. I have never lost that. As far as the foundations that my parents gave me, they've never let me forget who I am. And just because I'm in the U.S., it doesn't mean I can act like a U.S. person or a U.S. child. There are still rules and regulations that you have to follow. Africans have a different way of raising their children compared to a lot of Americans here. It's a total different world. I was able to assimilate well here, but at the same time, I knew what I was going home to when I leave school. So I knew I was going home to an African home.
Michelle, you've been here for how long?
This is actually my 15th year.
Wow.
Do you still look at yourself as an African woman?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In what ways?
You're born into it. It doesn't change in terms of who you belong to. Mm-hmm. You always, whether your parents, your country, you belong to it. It's something that just never goes away no matter where you go. It's kind of like home. It doesn't matter how long I've been here. Whenever we make a trip, we going home.
And how long have you been here?
Probably 16 years as well.
You still consider yourself a Nigerian woman?
Very much so.
Is it just because of the Okpomo and everything? But basically, what really makes anybody that sees you and say, this is an African woman, because you're not dressed in wrapper and all that. That question we'll take when we return back. I'm still the man called Dr. Love. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ebere Pretty will be right back.
Welcome back. Nice of you to still be there. I'm hanging out with 3 gorgeous African women, 2 from Nigeria, 1 from South Africa. I have Mrs. Mokenkwo, she's here. I have Samantha, and I have Hilda. Which one do you like me to call? Hilda
matter.
or Uche?
Hilda or Uche, doesn't matter.
But a lot of people here call you Hilda because you're now Americanized.
Well, actually, it was just easy for me to stick to Hilda because the pronunciation was easier for the people around here to pronounce.
How did they pronounce your name?
Usha, Ushai, all kinds of stuff. So I was like, you know what, just call me Hilda. I think it's easier.
But you're losing your identity.
Not exactly, because a lot of people still call me Uche, especially those that know me from back home. And in the Nigerian community, a lot of people still call me Uche.
Samantha, do you have any South African names? How come?
Because South Africa was colonized by the British, and I'm considered colored in South Africa, which is someone that is of any kind of mixed race, and so I don't have a African last name or first name.
We're going to give you one. Let's give her, from my tribe, let's call you Adanne.
There you go.
Adanne. Oh, okay.
Tell me the meaning and why.
Adanne simply means, in my language, Adanne means the first daughter of his mom. But when they call you Adanne, it's more like you're really a girl after your mother's heart. So Adanne.
I like that.
So some could call you Ada, being the first female order. Clara, you should have a native name.
Ifoma.
Ifoma. You know that song by
No, there is a song.
Were you in Nigeria when
no.
wasn't it Felix Liberty?
Yes,
Ifoma. Oh, Ifoma.
Yes. I love that song
You
actually.
know,
It's very
do
nice.
you
I
have a
love
copy?
it.
Do you still have it? That was a classic. It was
I
one of
love-
the
I
biggest
like it,
hits,
Mama.
you know, back home, you know.
Mhm.
Do you entertain as African women here?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Just for Nigerians or for everybody?
Both.
What is it like?
Well, it depends on the occasion. One period where I had Bible study at my house, and it was a combination of African women and African American women and Caucasian women and so forth.
And what
And
do you
then-
give them to eat?
Oh, they love African food. That's one thing about Americans. When they taste African food, they love African food.
Is that stem with both of you?
Yeah.
Have you entertained? What do you give them?
Well, for me, the rice is very prominent
Mhm.
because, you know, they're like, oh, do you have that red rice?
Jollof rice.
Rice is more of Asian food, actually. It's not actually a Nigerian food.
Right.
We just make it. We eat a lot of it, but it's not really a Nigerian food.
Well, it's the
more
way you
Asian.
fix it.
It's the way you
Yeah.
fix it,
Fix
yeah,
it
because
that
the
makes it
Asians
African.
cook theirs like the fried rice.
Exactly.
And even when Nigerians or Africans cook fried rice, it's not the way the
Exactly.
Asians cook
It's
it,
not
right?
the same.
And then
Yeah.
the Mexicans cook
Mhm.
jollof
Rice,
rice technically,
yeah. Right.
but it tastes so different. They're like,
Exactly.
oh, the red rice, but then when they
Right.
taste our jollof rice, it tastes nothing like the Mexican rice. And
Exactly.
well, you know, you get a lot of people that say, oh, I really like your jollof rice. It doesn't taste like what I had at that Spanish
Mhm.
restaurant.
Yeah, and another thing I observe here is you ladies are really looking gorgeous. What
Thank you.
is it like taking care of yourself in America? How do you get your hair braided? How do you get your nails done? What are the costs? Just tell me, how do you do it? Let's start with you. You're always on my right side.
Why are you starting with me?
Because you're on my right side.
Oh my goodness. I've always liked to look good. Let's just say that I take care of myself. I love being a woman, so I love to pamper myself. So I think being able to take care of yourself is very important, not only for your own self, but also, you know, for your husband. I love going to the spa. My friends know that. My friends know that because they've been with me. You know, so when it comes to those kind of things, you know, I take time to make myself. It makes me feel good.
What is the cost of getting your hair done? Like you have
Well,
some braids on.
Right. It can be very, very costly. And my girlfriend Hilda used to do my hair several years ago. So you know, it can be costly. It depends on what, you know, the kind of style that you want. I don't know what it costs at home in Nigeria, but I know in America, it's a very, very good way to make a living.
Yeah.
You know,
What would it cost to get your hair done?
well, probably maybe like $200 maybe.
And that's translated in your currency.
Yes, in dollars.
In Naira, it
Yes.
would be
35,000 naira.
Okay.
35,000 Naira.
Yes.
Would you pay 35,000 Naira to just have your hair done in Lagos?
I probably would.
That's somebody's monthly salary. That's somebody's salary,
Wow.
you know.
And I have to say, let me say that over the years, I've learned how to do my own hair. So that helps a lot. You know, it helps cut down the cost, and I can do it. There's a lot of flexibility when I do my hair, so I've learned over the years.
What is beauty like in South Africa in comparison to
Well,
the U.S.?
I think it's more expensive here, but I can see why people get into the field. My mother's actually a hairdresser in
She's
South
here?
Africa.
Oh, in
No,
South Africa.
In
okay.
South Africa.
She should
That
move
was
here.
her profession, and she's actually the only person that I allow to cut my hair.
I don't
So
blame
when
you.
I go home,
Mhm.
that's when I get a haircut. I do my hair myself. I have 4 daughters, and so I think that it's a very important skill to be able to do your own hair
Is it
and to
because
be
of
able
the
to
cost
do
or
because of the cost.
style?
Mhm.
I would pay at least $35 a week or every 2 weeks to get 4 girls' hair braided, done. It's too much.
35 each, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Hilda, you did a whole lot of this to see yourself through school.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now that you don't do all that again and someone else has to get your hair done, what is it like?
As women, you want to take care of yourself regardless. So yes, it's expensive, but you know it's something you have to pay for. Maybe once every. I get braids done a lot on my hair, and I pay between $200 to $250. But then I can wear it for a couple of months. So sometimes if you break it up, you know, $250 divided by 8 weeks, you know, because I wear it for about 2 months, it kind of ends up being a little on the reasonable side, as opposed to getting my hair done like this every single week. You know, that tends to be a little more expensive because it's probably about $50, $60 a week for just a hairstyle like this. So, you know, sometimes you think about, I want to look good and I want to feel good, but you also have to think about the cheapest
Absolutely.
route to
Right.
go about
Yeah.
doing it.
Okay, but people at home don't think you ladies in America have a cheap route. What is it like in communicating with your families back home? Because everybody back home feels like there's a tree that produces money, or you're picking it on the street. How many hours do you walk?
We're still looking for that tree, right?
Oh my God!
Oh my
Please,
God.
when you find it,
I
let
will
me
let
know.
you know. Yes. You know.
How many hours do you walk?
My goodness, we can work from anywhere from 40 to 45 hours a week.
Did your parents work that long back home?
My family, they own their own business. So my mom, she had her own store. So my dad had his own business. So I grew up seeing them being entrepreneurs. I'm a risk taker when it comes to kind of stepping out on your own and doing, working your passion, so to speak. You have to be very creative, and you have to have the spirit of entrepreneurship, because money doesn't just come to you.
So there's a lot of work.
Absolutely.
In America.
Absolutely.
So what is it like being a social worker? How many hours do you put in?
I probably put in about 45, 50 hours a week, and
you still have time to take care of 4 girls and take care of your
and
husband.
a husband. Mm-hmm. I think we both work, and we do use our extended family. His parents are here, so they help out. There is a good sense of extended family in his family to be able to help with our children. We wouldn't be able to do it without help.
You work a lot of hours too.
Yes, I
and
do.
you've got a daughter.
I do.
How much do you pay your nanny?
About $150 a week, and she comes for 3 days.
In Naira?
In Naira, $150 would probably
20,
be
20,
whatever it is, 20-something thousand.
a lot of people
30-something
don't
thousand.
end that in a month.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't. But if we keep converting,
I convert. I can stop converting.
well, you're gonna have to stop, because
And-
the thought of it will drive you crazy
That's
trying to
right.
convert.
Uh-huh.
I actually feel blessed to have that, because some people pay way more than that.
Yeah.
For
Absolutely.
babysitters
Yes.
every week. But my babysitter comes 3 times a week, and she gets $150 So in a month, we're talking $600, almost $700. And now she's gonna be 2 very soon, so we're gonna be talking real school, and it'll be close to 1,000 or more
You're talking about
A month.
160,000 Naira
for 1
for
month.
just 1 month.
Yes.
How do you spend your money as an African woman in America? What takes all your money? Do you still send some money home?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a census that came out recently that Nigerians send close to more than $1 billion
I believe that.
back to Nigeria. I think it's a year.
Okay.
I'll confirm that figure, so don't quote me. But what is it like coping with families back home? Because every phone call you get is like, auntie, uncle.
Right.
What do they need to know about this place?
I like that.
That's a whole different show as well. But I'll just start. I'm the youngest of 5 girls.
Oh,
and
you're
one
not
brother.
spending no money.
No,
Nobody's writing.
That's not
Everybody's
true.
sending
Oh,
you
believe
money.
no, I wish. No, that's not true. I'm the youngest, like I
The
said.
baby's getting
But I
the
have
money.
lots of nieces and nephews and brothers and sisters that are at home.
Definitely.
So that it goes without saying. You have to. I truly believe when God blesses you, you have an obligation and responsibility to help. Especially your family, because in my own perception, once you make it to the U.S., many people come here for many reasons, but I believe once God has blessed you with the opportunity to earn money, and I think He expects you to be a giver of that money as well, a steward of that money, and a part of that stewardship is being able to, take care of your family at home as well. But you have to be able to do it with wisdom, because you cannot give them the impression that every time you call, I'm going to send you money, because it doesn't work that way. Over the years, as I've gotten older, I've learned to use wisdom and pray when it comes to just giving money. Because what we try to do is to give money and allow them to use that money to open up a business. So that way you're able to fish, not just give them the fish. I think that's important.
Teaching them to fish.
Absolutely.
I think one of the biggest things that people worry about is how people living in America as Africans cope with the cost of living. The standard of living in America is very high. But you gotta have money to live that life, actually. How much do you pay? Or you own your own home?
$1,800 a month.
Wow, that's huge. And what's how much do you pay?
$1,700 a month.
That's a month. What about you, Clara?
So I probably pay the lowest. I pay $8.90.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
that's mortgage?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, let's convert. I will always convert.
But we need a calculator.
Yes.
Well, I can go get, unless you want to do it here. But 1,700, you're talking close to 17. That's close to 80 or so.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, a month. And that's about a 2-year rent in some parts of Lagos. That's what you pay a month.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Yours is close to 300,000 naira a month. And most mortgages are about 30 years. So how do you manage with all this? Is to take care of your family, take care of yourselves, to get enough to send home. How do you ladies manage that? What's your secret?
We find a husband that helps us. We don't have to carry it on our own.
That's right.
Is that same with you?
Pretty much. I mean, like you had asked earlier, if it's a teamwork. So it is a teamwork. So you're not expected to do it on your own. You and your husband work together.
And Clara?
That's the privilege of having a husband.
One
of the many privileges.
No, that brings me. Now I'm talking about husband. I'm Dr. Rose. How did you meet your husband?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll very short. I think my husband and I, he met me like maybe 6 years before we actually met. He saw me at one of his brother's events. And we didn't see each other again until 6 years later. And he tried to approach me at that time. This is the story I got, afterwards. Later. So.
You were playing hard to get.
Not at all. I never even spoke to him. He saw me.
But you saw him in spirit.
Okay. I don't want to make anything up.
Okay.
No, I'm telling you the truth. So I'm not going to make it to sound too spiritual or anything. But, he did see me 6 years. And then after that, we finally did. It was a very wonderful meeting.
Samantha, how did you meet yours? You met him here too?
Yes, I met my husband here at a conference. It is a workshop that his optometrist was doing, where she got men together to talk about the qualities that the girlfriends or wives have that their mothers have. So I met his mother the prior week because I was a part of that focus group, and then met him the week after.
But his mom must have taken cognizance of a lot of things about you and must have told him.
No, because I met her first. She's a social worker.
Okay.
And then met him the week after. And when his mother's friend introduced us, she said, I want you to meet him because he has nice friends that he can introduce you to. But he is in a relationship, and I know the girl, so I don't want you to date him. I just want you to meet him so that he can introduce you to
Did you like
men
him?
like him.
Wow.
Did you like him?
We started out as friends, and we grew to get to know each other better.
No,
and
I want to
fell
know
in
if
love.
it was an infatuation, for love at first sight.
No, it wasn't love at first sight.
But you just said that you liked him. It's just because he had a girlfriend.
No, I didn't like him because he had a girlfriend. I liked
But
him
that's
because
not why
he was
you
a
didn't
good
like him.
person.
You were just pretending that you didn't like him.
No, I wasn't pretending.
He's trying to make it more exciting. He's trying to make it exciting.
I had a boyfriend back home, so I was supposed to be here for a
That's
short
right.
period of time and go back home.
Why didn't you go back to this guy back home?
Time,
Oh,
right?
poor guy.
Time. 18 months being apart from somebody, away from home, changes people.
So you became a changed person. Oh, America. Oh, America. How did you meet your husband?
I met my husband through a friend, or will I say somebody that I was introducing to a business, one of the businesses that I operate, and she just said she wanted me to meet someone, and while I was trying to go get her signed up for this business, she made it possible for the person, the guy, to be there. And it was kind of interesting. The meeting was very short, but
Love at first sight.
I'm not exactly sure it was love at first sight. I think it was actually more of somebody I was like, who does he think he is?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's what attracted you to him?
No, it's like who does he think he is? Really but I was really all about the business. I really wanted her to get signed up, and we took care of all of that.
But you got signed up in marriage.
Right.
I guess so.
That's a good
Okay,
business.
Clyde, how hard is it for African women in America to find a husband?
How hard is it?
Yes, how hard? Because a lot of, I just spoke to someone last week on this show. I'm sure you're going to watch it. And he went home to marry a lady because he didn't want to marry in America. He wanted to obey his parents. He wanted to make sure he goes home to get someone. But it didn't work out. Now, the trend is that every man in America, no matter how long they've been here, want to go home to get married. But most of the ladies who are in America can't get anybody to marry them. And they too have to go back to Nigeria to look for a guy who is in Nigeria to bring to America. And when these guys come, it's the same story. How hard is that? What's going on?
I don't know if I can answer that question because it's so subjective, because each of us are looking for whatever it is that we're looking for. And
a man is part of it.
If you have that desire to be married, absolutely. So I think, I can't really say why that is. I just think that's a very subjective question, and every woman has to kind of look into herself to see what is it that
do you
drives
see the
her.
trend?
Yeah, there are many trends here. As I get older, and I mean, like I said, I grew up in the U.S., so I was able to see both the African aspect of it by my own community and also the African American and American culture of marriage. Mm-hmm. So I think I was very privileged, to witness both, and I think I was even more privileged to marry an African man.
Who's better, the African man or the American man?
Oh my goodness, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. Not to say I'm not saying there's anything wrong with African American men, but I think I'm an African woman, and I think deep inside I've always had a desire to be with an African man. So I think I thank God that He was able to make that happen, and I think it's important that you wait as well, because I waited a long time for my husband too, and Samantha and I have had many conversations about that. She's also a friend of mine.
What was the conversation?
Oh gosh.
The conversation was probably at a time where Clara was waiting.
You were single.
And the waiting
was it
just
waiting?
took a long
Yes.
time.
Samantha, be honest with me. Was
Yes.
it waiting or was it searching?
No,
It was
me,
waiting.
It was waiting.
It was
For me,
waiting.
It was absolutely waiting.
It was waiting and sometimes engaging with the wrong, just learning. It was really learning about yourself and learning about who's right, what you want, getting close to God and figuring out what He wants for you and your life.
So you never searched, you were waiting.
I wasn't waiting.
Love.
It just happened.
Did you search or were you waiting? So is it true, this trend that is going on? Why is it that Nigerian men here, even with the Nigerian women who are here, they always want to go home? And the ladies here, with all the Nigerian guys who are single, want to go home and get a guy. Do you see that trend, and why is that?
Well, to be very honest with you, it's hard to answer the question. I know that some of the African men over here, they want to date a lot of African American women because they're a certain way, or they do things better in certain areas, all of that stuff. I'm not going to go into the details, So sometimes they just get caught up in the whole African American and maybe Caucasians too.
American period.
The system, and they're like, oh, I'm from Africa, so I want to explore and I want to, have fun and all of that.
And the ladies
stuff.
are watching them explore.
And the ladies watch them
Absolutely.
explore because they say different things like, oh, the Americans are better in certain aspects, than the Africans are and whatnot. And then another thing I've also found out, I think America is it has such an interesting structure in the sense that, because of the hours that we work, sometimes the social life suffers. And you're not out a lot, by the time you've worked Monday through Friday, you're tired and exhausted. The weekend, you don't really want to do much. You might want to go to the spa and just regroup and have a good time for yourself. And sometimes we don't get to meet this man, To be honest, I've heard that a lot. Like, well, I don't go out that much. Where am I going to meet the person, I told you how I met my husband. She didn't go into details as to how she met hers, but a lot of times it's just time and chance, and it happens.
Time and chance. Does it really work when you go to Nigeria to bring a girl? The story is becoming very ugly.
Well, the thing also with that is some people are trying to please their parents. They feel like, oh, the guy is not here. Let me go home and see if I'll find him. And then you have some people who are being introduced, like, my very good friend might say, oh, Uche, I have somebody there that I want you to meet, So you find out that those that go home to meet people, it's not people that they've had maybe contacts with.
Yeah.
It's people that somebody else
Exactly.
back there at
Yeah.
home has introduced. Oh, my sister is in America, she's single, she's searching, and then they have this guy that is
Right.
also searching.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't you guys meet? It may
Right.
be a great meeting, and then they talk for some time. And sometimes when you talk to someone for a while, you get connected one way or the other. You think you love the person, and now you're ready to jump and go bring this person or meet this person.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens. A lot of times when they're going home, is because somebody has introduced somebody to them. Normally, they don't just know the people, and then thank God for Facebook and all kinds of internet dating.
Internet dating, that's another day.
Right.
Now, well, when they were able to marry Nigerians, you didn't marry a South African man. How did your parents take it?
I think my parents, I was dating a South African man, and I think that through high school, and there was an expectation that that's who I would marry. When I had the opportunity and got a scholarship to come to school here, I believe that my father actually encouraged me to go because he didn't feel like it was the right fit. Because he wanted me to get away from the relationship that I was in.
Okay.
But he believed that it was only going to be a short period of time that his child was going to be away and come back. And so when I traveled with my husband to South Africa, we were just dating at that time, and he was introduced to my parents. When he asked my father for my hand in marriage, I remember my father saying to me, separately from him, before I say anything to him, I just want to know if you are happy. And if you feel that you've seen me and your mother, you know our relationship, is this something that makes you happy? And when I said yes, he said, do you think you're going to live here or there? And I said, I don't know. But I think the adjustment would have been too hard for my husband, being in a country and being an African American man. I think he wouldn't have been as flexible as I am in terms of getting to know a new country, fitting in. I had a job here. He kind of felt like it was too much for us to move to a strange place.
All right. Finding love where we are. I've been talking to these ladies. When we return, we'll be coming to a touchdown. Don't blink or you will miss it. We'll be right back. I'm Dr.
Ebere Pretty will be right back.
Welcome back. It's been fun right here in the studio, hanging out with these beautiful African women. Before we went on break, we were talking about finding love. Now that you found it, I was asking when we were on break, I was asking Clara. She was Is it true what they say that African men are promiscuous? And is it true? I'm looking for someone to tell me it is not true. So if you're telling me it is true, don't speak. What do you think?
I don't know. I personally don't believe that. Again, I'm going by my own experience. And really, my husband is the only African man I've really been with. So I
you
don't
must have some magic.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody else out there want to know how
He
you do
does.
it.
No, but he's really the only African man I've ever been with. And I guess it's just like I said earlier when we were speaking about that, it's really important that you wait. I don't regret waiting for my husband. He was absolutely worth the wait. I believe when you... I believe I received that from the Lord. Said, wait, I know what I have for you. And often it's not easy to wait. Believe me. Don't let me make it sound like so easy, because it isn't. Because in the waiting period, you get to meet a lot of temporaries. And, and you get to decipher right away that this is a temporary person. And when the permanent came, it was not difficult at all to know that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Was it difficult for you to know?
No.
It wasn't. So what's the secret? How long have you been married now?
13 years.
How?
Wow,
For
that's
13
awesome.
years! You've kept this guy.
Yeah.
How did you manage?
I don't know. I would say nothing but God, and just consistent communication, being honest and trusting.
Trusting.
Trust is very important.
Trusting. Do you trust your husband?
Yes, I do trust my husband.
Oh, and how How long have you been married?
A couple of years.
And what's the secret? How have you been able to keep him?
Well, I guess communication is a big deal. Yes. Communication is a very, very big deal, and I think a marriage without communication is pretty much a dead marriage. So you have to constantly talk about different things, and on top of that, you really have to stay prayerful, because I think it breaks my heart to find out that some people you think are having it great in their marriage, you find out later that they get a divorce, and you're like, oh my God, how did it happen? Like, you never ever saw it.
And the rate of divorce in America, we don't want to go into that. I think that should be another day. We ladies, promise me one thing: you're going to be back.
Yeah,
sure.
You should be back. You should. We got a whole lot of things that we didn't talk about. But do you have this fear of divorce in your marriage?
You know what? I wouldn't call it fear of divorce, but I can't rule it out completely, simply because, like I said, the people that you look up to sometimes, and the people that you've heard about how great their marriages are, and they're having divorces, you're like, oh my God. So in my own case, what I do is I prayerfully, prayerfully package my marriage every single day in the hands of God, that because if it can happen to this person, I'm not any better than she is, I'm not any different than she is. And then I'm thinking they had it going on, and all of a sudden you hear divorce. You're like, oh my God, where did it come from? So I know it's possible. Do I want it to happen? Heck no. I don't want it to happen, but I'm not going to rule it out that it cannot happen. So what I do is I pray about my marriage all the time. If I see things that are not quite working out well the way I would want them to, like I said, constant communication is the key. And I want him to always know in his head that, look here, we can't rule this out, so what can we do on a daily basis to improve upon our marriage, so that we don't experience those things that other people experience. But I would tell you for sure, it breaks my heart when I see those things happen. I'm like,
agree.
how? How did it happen?
I think it's important to piggyback on what Hilda said. You have to be careful that you're not taking each other for granted. And it's really, for me, it's God-centered. God first, my husband. Yes, not taking each other for granted, and always keeping God first. Like the Lord is the head of our marriage, then my husband, then myself. I always believe that the woman is the neck that moves the man's head. And if it's so if he's following God, I don't have no problem following him. So
Great.
It's important.
And what's your last word, Samantha?
I love both of the statements that were made. I think it's just critical. And then the other piece is also to trust and know yourself. And you can only control yourself. So you can't always walk in fear of what your husband or someone else might do. All you can do is know yourself, know and trust that God loves you and is going to protect you, and that has put you with someone that loves you. And
Great.
If they love you, they'll protect you.
Absolutely.
Great. That sounds so good. Ladies, it's been wonderful talking to you all this time.
Thank you.
And I'm sure everybody out there must have been blessed, like I've been, listening to the three of you. I'm privileged to be here with you, and I want to thank you so much for coming. Samantha, I'm not going to start with her. Samantha, for being here, leaving your kids and your schedule. Hilda, for being here. And now I go to the family. Mrs. Walker-Nkwo, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You are welcome.
I know a lot of people are going to tell me to bring you ladies back again.
And we'll love to be back.
Yes, and we'll be talking more about relationship and all that. That will be Dr. Love. That won't be very pretty there. And thank you so much, Hilda. Thank you so much.
It's a
Thank you,
pleasure. Thank you for
Samantha.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, and to you for being there all this while, watching Dr. Love right here. We've been talking to African women and what it is like in life in America. I remain still the same. Don't blink. And I'll be here again same time next week. And to all of you across Africa and Europe, God bless you. I'll see you again next week.